The Moment You Can't Ignore When Big Trouble Leads to a Great Future by Malachi O'Connor and Barry C. Dorn. University Hospital. When a patient at University Hospital, was suffering from severe abdominal pain, Dr. Pearson, the hospital's leading surgeon, performed surgery that lasted nearly 8 hours. As he was about to close the incision, Marco Fierro, the scrub tech, told him that a sponge was missing. Pearson ignored Fierro, and the two almost came to blows. A nurse restored calm, they found the missing sponge and the patient made a full recovery. When the stress of change becomes too much for an organization, the situation often erupts into an unignorable moment. While the patient escaped harm, the volatile situation in the surgery theater raised a red flag with hospital management. Dr. Davidian, head of the medical staff and procedures, launched an investigation. A relatively new program, Putting Patients First, PPF, had thrown the hospital into turmoil. The program synthesized internal safety protocols with requirements from outside institutions such as the World Health Organization. PPF put the responsibility for patient safety into the hands of hospital employees, from scrub techs to surgeons. The new processes, checklists and protocols forced us staffers to adopt new ways of working, whether they wanted to or not. Unignorable moments erupt like earthquakes. Dr. Pearson believed in an orderly chain of command in the operating room, where he was in charge. Scrub tech Fierro felt he was following PPF guidelines by speaking out when he spotted a potential error. The head nurse was tired of feeling caught between the medical staff and the administration. Complicating the situation further, in contrast to Dr. Pearson's authoritarian approach, PPF followed a team-based model, a hallmark of another surgeon with a near-perfect patient safety record. But PPF fell short due to lack of training and spotty implementation. Additionally, while boasted a 96% safety record, only 40% of the hospital's departments reported their safety data. We create most of the organizational obstacles that stand in our way, and consequently we can and should be the ones who remove them. The PPF initiative blurred existing lines of authority. The resulting confusion caused tension, resistance, and conflict. Once Dr. Davidian and his staff identified the nexus of the problem, they took steps to improve reporting, clarify authority, and encourage a necessary cultural shift. Clash between old and new. Moments such as the operating room incident at UH are explosions that result from a combustible clash of old and new ways of conducting business. These upsetting, dramatic moments bring a conflict to the forefront. Unignorable moments share 4 properties. 1. They are public in nature. Word of the occurrence spreads through the organization and beyond, to company stakeholders or the greater public, raising questions about existing systems and ways of making decisions and getting things done. 2. They are irreversible. Unignorable incidents draw attention to changes that make it impossible to continue the old ways of doing business. 3. They are systemic. Unignorable moments are often the tip of the iceberg, signaling conflicts that are taking place throughout the organization. 4. They challenge the identity of the organization. The incident threatens organizational cultural identity. Workers question what is safe and what is at risk. The organization as we have known it for decades is just not equipped to meet the challenges of working amid rapid and continuous change. Management often reacts to an unignorable moment by taking action, any action, to fix the problem. Instead, leaders should conduct ethnographic fieldwork to gather information and understand all aspects of the problem. You can develop a thick description of what's occurring by listening, analyzing stories, and observing people in their work environment. Begin the process without preconceived notions about which side is right or wrong. Let people tell you their truths and be prepared to be surprised. Take the emotional temperature, such as anger or confusion, of everyone you interview and deduce what their feedback says about the organization. Consider the context in which you observe and talk to people, since that affects their behavior. Many of the systems that organizations put in place to get work done, make decisions, and determine how we work with each other become tacit over time. When a moment they can't ignore occurs, people feel unable to move forward and unwilling to abandon proven, comfortable, and productive practices. Managers must harness the energy produced by the incident and rechannel it in new directions. Finding innovative ideas for growth. Critical business decisions are always made on the basis of cultural agreements about how work should get done and how decisions should get made. We are accustomed to the notion of change resistance, but there are always reasons underlying the resistance, and exploring them can reveal valuable information. To create pull for what you want to accomplish, connect your passion to the passions and interests of others. Found pilots are harbingers of the future, the first emergence of new programs, products or processes that signal the potential direction of a company. They're small-scale projects and experiments that often take place off the radar. Frequently, found pilots are modifications or new ways of accomplishing tasks more efficiently. Companies also recombine existing materials to get an exciting, different result. These new mixes gain momentum as employees collude at the edges and front lines of the organization. These small projects emerge from within the company and bridge old ways and new ways of doing things, allowing the culture to evolve organically. A clean sweep. For change to take hold, sweep people in and elicit their support. When enough people commit to a found pilot or change effort, momentum builds. Miller's creation of a coalition is an illuminating example. He selected skilled, influential leaders to court support from employees. They had the connections, reputation, and authority to sweep people in. They had the social capital to sway members of their networks towards their objective. Found pilots are positively deviant. They purposefully deviate from the normal way of doing things in ways that lead to positive, often striking results. As you cultivate cooperation with people whose interests align with yours, also pursue the backing of people who hold opposing views. Rather than seeing them as naysayers or impediments, listen to their concerns and encourage their input. You'll gain insights and secure support. Connect with influencers at every level of your firm. Seek people who belong to several groups. These boundary spanners can spread ideas and practices from one area to another. When you ask, "Where is the future already happening?" you launch an investigation of useful assets, people, places, events, and projects that are usually hiding in plain sight. As new processes and attitudes circulate through your organization, seek support within existing systems and adapt current structures to your needs. To be cost-effective, use modifications to these systems as bridges between old and new ways of working. Since your employees are familiar and comfortable with your current systems, they can adopt updates or alterations. Moncrief University. Moncrief University suffered a drop in enrollment and fiscal stress on its endowment. The board hired a new president, Kenneth Patterson, a financier with a strong business record. After a few months, his bold, independent style alienated the board and faculty. Patterson aggressively pursued development of Moncrief's Center for Innovation in China, envisioning it as the main feature of a future global campus. The China project was in the works before Patterson came on, but he increased its promotion and pitched investors without faculty or administration support. Unlike resources such as money, time and attention, which are finite, human energy is a renewable resource. At a meeting with the deans, Patterson announced that a software company had agreed to finance a large part of the China project. The statement didn't elicit the cheers he expected. The deans peppered him with questions and the provost announced her resignation. The dean of the School of Engineering asked Patterson what he saw as Moncrief University's most distinguishing characteristic. When Patterson weakly joked, "Fiscal distress," nobody laughed. The faculty considered a no confidence vote. Patterson felt that because he was an academic outsider, the administration wanted him to fail. The board and faculty, in turn, were concerned that Patterson wasn't acting in the school's best interests. The social contract between leaders and the workforce is changing as the economic context has changed. Patterson was an exceptional leader in business circles, but he misread the situation at Moncrief. He reached out to the school's Dean of Arts and Sciences for advice. She recommended that he secure support from the Dean of Engineering as the university's spiritual leader. The two met and Patterson learned that the dean not only backed the China project, but also had great ideas. He asked the dean, "Grant me entry to the mysterious and fascinating world of Moncrief Dom." Subsequently, Patterson adopted a collaborative leadership style to fit the academic environment. He created interdisciplinary task forces for different projects and placed the dean at the head of the China project. The energy between Patterson, the board and the faculty improved, and the school began its turnaround. Leading in the new world. As work environments change, leadership styles must change, too. Nowadays, few employees stay with one company through their careers, switching jobs and career paths several times. They work more independently and enjoy greater freedoms than workers of past generations. The challenge is to retain a workforce that resembles a volunteer army. They must be committed to the firm's long-range goals and motivated to perform their best. What makes an unignorable moment so powerful is that the clash of cultural expectations doesn't stop with the individuals engaged in the incident. Organizations of all types and sizes are undergoing three major cultural shifts, moving from authoritarian to collaborative structures, from push strategies to pull tactics, and from external to internal motivation approaches. Traditional, tightly coupled, hierarchical organizations have clear, vertical lines of authority. Today's loosely coupled organizations have departments that work independently, reach for different goals, and compete for resources. Leaders in these organizations earn respect by building relationships while wisely negotiating and collaborating across internal boundaries. Pull tactics such as forming coalitions, targeting influencers to spread ideas, and building incremental participation are more effective than giving employees directives. Motivating an autonomous, self-directed workforce requires aligning employees' interests with the interests of the company. Develop a command and collaborate motivational style to move your workforce from compliance to commitment. Patterson learned this lesson when he changed his management style to work with Moncrief's board, staff, and administration. What does the future hold for work environments in a constant state of flux? The answer lies within a firm's culture, which holds the raw ingredients that leaders must use to formulate responsive processes, engender employee engagement, and develop a vision for the future. Takeaways. The friction between old and new ways of working ignites some moments you can't ignore that can challenge the identity of your company. When such a moment occurs, people feel stuck and unable to move forward. Learn from these moments and harness their energy to promote positive change. To determine the cause of a moment you cannot ignore, listen, analyze stories, and observe people at work. Found pilots are side projects, products, or processes that indicate a new way forward. To create lasting change in your company, sweep people in and elicit their support. Create a cultural shift by trading social capital, forming coalitions, tapping the power of influencers, and exploiting existing structures. As work environments change, leadership styles must change, too. Today's leaders are less authoritarian and more collaborative. They focus on commitment instead of compliance. Organizations are undergoing three major cultural shifts, from authoritarian to collaborative, from push to pull tactics, and from external to internal motivation. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe this channel for more videos.